Battle control initialized.
Hey people, 5 Aces here and welcome to the rerun. Now what's happening here? Some of you, I'd say around 230 of you, might be thinking to themselves, wait a sec, I've already seen this match. Hasn't he casted this already? Yeah, I have. Thing is, there were video issues. This video was riddled with issues, frame rate issues on the webcam, shit like that. And there was letterboxing, whatever. And people complained a lot. So out of the 12 comments or so that this has received, there were 11 of them were just trash talking the video. So I was like, yeah, you know, time for a rerun, time for round 2. So I'm recasting this and I already know what's happening, but hey, that doesn't stop us from having some fun here. Ooh, and we're already seeing the Grants coming out of Eskimo, the Grand Slam if you will. 5 Grants, 5 rifles if I remember correctly. So this match is between Kazu and Eskimo. It's the third in the best of 3 and it's currently 1-1, so either of these players can take the best of 3 series. It was just for bragging rights, but hey, still counts. Both of them really good players. Kazu has been the guy who has managed the first hidden path to Masters, and then he was in Masters but dropped out for some reason. For reasons unknown, he just decided to season forfeit. I think it was too stressful for him. And Eskimo is a pretty proficient 1v1 player as well, who is playing a lot of 1v1s. Good player, very skilled. And also the Dark Tournament has happened by Noob Mapmaker. It was a pretty cool event. We have seen some crazy shit there, trust me. If you haven't seen it, watch the videos by So Scared and Corrode, respectively. Both of them were covering one division. And it also features a pretty colossal ass whooping that I received, where I was on the receiving end by a Barrett, where I was winning the game and I forgot to turn on sounds, so I didn't hear his nuke coming, and he nuked me into oblivion, and then I wasn't winning the game anymore. Alright, so we're seeing the scouts come in. As I was about to comment on this last time, if you're seeing 3 scouts come into your base, you assume something's fishy, something is not kosher here. Kazu knows that something's up, and I think they even went for a second scouting pass here. Also, double ref versus a war factory first. So Kazu is not gonna have much early infantry pressure output he's gonna trade that off for more early ore trucks and more early eco scaling. Yeah, in come the 5 grants, but it's a bit too late. Map is borrowed time. This map has gotten into the pool or found its way into the map pool for Ruggle recently, but yeah, it's a decent map, I like it. It's fairly standard as far as maps go. Not too many neutral objectives, by which I mean 0. And also a couple of civilians there, nothing too fancy. So what Eskimo is trying here is baiting out a flame tower with a single grenadier, running into the ore truck lines, and Kazu just didn't fall for it. Kazu was like, no, that's 1 gran. So what you're trying to do with this usually is sniping the early power, as the grenadiers are scorching and burning to a crisp on the ground. What are you gonna try to snipe the early power, because early on you're not gonna float much power and it's gonna take a long time getting the power back up, and that is going to allow your opponent to scale and into the mid game, or into the early mid game at least. So Eskimo on his 4 harvesters producing lots of infantry. And Kazu has just gone for an early expansion, so this is the 3-minute 50 mark. We're expecting to see... Oh god, yeah, I remember that. I was commenting on that. That's the civilian massacre here. Oh shit, even the civilian gets slaughtered afterwards, yep. And I was commenting on Kazu's misconduct there, not adhering to the Geneva Convention and killing many innocent lives there. You will see in the later stages of the game that the civilians all start migrating towards Eskimo. So yeah, hey, why not burn down those fields? Oh wait, you can't! They're actually coated like road tiles, you can't burn those down. Not even with flamer weapons. But a nice little detail got added in one of the later releases, that was that demo trucks can now burn trees. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's go back into infravision here, into Kazu's and Eskimo's vision. So a super early expansion out for Kazu, and he likes doing that. He likes getting lots of eco up. He's not a big fan of tier 2 if you're asking me. He's rather a big fan of the sledgehammer, if you will. Big fan of having big eco, big dick eco, and blowing up your opponent with lots of unit mass. Eskimo, one thing that happened here, the rifleman has revealed the position of the Conyard. What I like doing in this situation is, this is now very vulnerable to V2 snipes, so I like immediately relocating the Conyard afterwards so it can't get targeted. Here we're seeing fantastic crashes by the APC, almost getting away scot-free. And on the other side of the map, we're seeing the MCV by Kazu tanking a lot, but the MCV has done a better job due to its higher health pool. Nice restraint being shown here by Eskimo, pulling back his rocket soldiers behind the riflemen, making it all the harder to dislodge them. At the same time, he's just spamming out barracks and flame towers, the classic go-to move when you're just up against a base v base wars. Flamer wars get won by the guy who repairs first, by the way, so congrats to Kazu. Also a nice little nice using the fence here as some kind of defensive some defensive position. There is no cover bonus as there is in Company of Heroes. That would be pretty cool with the cover bonus here. We're seeing a third expansion, but it can't get established because too much infantry pressure. The two-prong attack is forcing back the MCV, at least for now. Reinforcing with heavy tanks. There's a heavy tank position here. And that was pretty expensive. The flame towers killed, I think, 4 rocket soldiers, basically for free. So yeah, that's something you always want to avoid. And the unit density here is high enough to warrant teching to tier 2, but I can't remember if Kazu actually teched. No, of course not. Just spamming more barracks, flame towers and power plants. Because that's how you win games as well. It's a legit strat. And now the secondary expansion by Eskimo. He's on 3 Conyards, he's got the macro refinery, he's got the eco slide. Everything's set up properly. Marvelous so far. We're seeing the army being completely out of position, and this allows Kazu to push into the base. He's gonna lose his fortification there, he's gonna lose his extra Conyard, but there has been no eco. So no eco's been lost, and on the other side of the map we're seeing Eskimo just being pincered in. So it all depends on whether or not he can hold the Conyard here. Alright, that's a bit of a questionable decision, focusing the barracks when there's like 5 barracks in the immediate vicinity. The neighborhood just consists of barracks. All those guys are barracks tenants. In come 5 APCs. Let's see, can he get good crushes? No, not before the cell order has to come off. Cleanup has been achieved. So a cost neutral trade, but the very important factor is that the eco is still standing. Eco line standing for both players, and Kazu only has 1 expansion out so far. He's got the macro ref as well, so eco-wise is actually... Nah, he's even. Eco-wise they're completely even. Here we're seeing what bad rally points can do to your infantry, but yeah, Eskimo rectifies that very quickly. And we're having the tier 2 transition. Here's the first V2 rocket out for Kazu. For Kazu. And he's also gotten an airfield. It's a Russia mirror, so airfield not gonna do much, at least in the long term. No parabomb timer taking down. And a refinery being sniped, as well as the radar dome being under threat here. Very good V2 hit, the splash damage killing lots of infantry, but it's just not enough. Yeah, beautiful hits though, you gotta hand it to the man. And now that all the infantry is down and out, it's time for the APCs to bail. There is nothing they can do without support. Small dispatch here, going into the expansion of Eskimo, finding snipes on the APCs, pretty good. APCs are very survivable as long as you move them, but if you just keep them still like this, they're just gonna die. Also the turn rate is so shit that usually they die turning around. That's the most common cause of death. Rockets to the back. And here Kazu has done something later on. Let's see. Yeah, he's gonna do it now. He's doing something that you should avoid at all costs. You should avoid at all costs to run your yaks or get yak strafes over infantry when they're standing. It's fine to do that when they're moving, because then they can't fire. But as soon as they're standing like this, in a fortified position, or in a pack or something like this, it's a very bad idea to run your yaks over them. Also, yeah, he loses a yak there for basically nothing. Also doing some splash. Also, note how he has separated his rocks and rifles into control groups, and the rocket control group engaged into the infantry. So right now we've only got infantry there for Kazu. Was a bit of a misplay. Nice Tesla coil. We're seeing the wall of Teslas being built up again. Wall of Teslas is gonna be great. We're gonna build a wall. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a wall made of Tesla coils. And yep, the first one just popping there. Kazu having a distinct tech advantage right now, but Eskimo is taking up to airfield as well, and sees Russia too. So no big surprises here. No parabomb surprise deluxe here to be had. Kazu fortifying with the Conyard. It's his actual main original Conyard that he used to move out because he's feeling like he's behind here and needs to make something happen. The strafes onto the refinery have begun. It's a macro refinery. That's pretty bad as well. That was just the first and only Yak being picked off for free. And almost one more strafe before the macro refinery goes down. And it's actually, that's something that I tend to like not do properly when playing games. Snipe your opponent's refineries, especially when he doesn't have a Conyard there, because that's gonna diminish his income by so much, and sometimes that's more important than getting lots of infantry crushed or something. Lots of times it's better to snipe eco than to snipe units. Here we're seeing a great position from the V2 for Eskimo. Is there gonna be a counter V2? Yes! Nice counter V2 from Kazu. Didn't remember this properly anymore. And the Yaks just can't engage into this. Look what's happening as soon as they're engaging. Horrible trades. 2 Yaks down basically for naught. The only ways to dislodge this are V2s, which Kazu didn't have the patience for, or lots of rifle infantry. At least for Soviets, that is. I guess at tier 3 you've got the Shakis, and the Shakis are pretty damn good at dislodging stationary infantry because of their insane range. So yeah, that was a nice little victory in this skirmish for Eskimo. And the Conyard for Kazu, big mistake there. Undeploying in front of a Tesla coil. Undeploying sets the armor value back to heavy from wood armor, and thus allows the Tesla coil to two-shot it. You should have waited out another Tesla coil blast, and it would have only taken like a 1/10 of the health of the Conyard, because it's wood armor. And as we all know, wood doesn't conduct electricity. And then after the blast should have undeployed the Conyard and ran away. Would have gotten away with it. But hey, such is life. And we're seeing Kazu after a nice early game, him being behind. Finally he snipes the ore refinery there. Should be a bit more active with his Yaks as well, just see and scout, prod and pry where the enemy infantry is coming from. Because with Eskimo it's usually infantry. He doesn't really opt for heavier units all that much. At least from my experience playing against him. Here we're having the macro refinery on the other hand, on the other side being sniped. Again, a stationary infantry blob, and it's hard to engage. You want Yaks and you want V2 support. That's how you dislodge that. Force your opponent to move or lose everything to AoE. But with this army, hell no. Right, flak trucks can poke a bit, they can just sit there. That's better, you see, the flak truck provides vision, line of sight. Ooh, and another Yak just biting the dust here. Another paper bag filled with explosives going up in smoke. And that was just a misplay. Sending a heavy tank into a stationary infantry blob, no sir. That's not how you dislodge this shit. And now he's got one less harvester to work with. Even though, like, that's a slight oversaturation. Should deal with this. And on the top side, we're seeing another eco snipe. We're also seeing the power down. Yep, someone hasn't paid his electric bills there. Oh man, he's gonna curse every single utility he's gotten there. The utility bill's all too crazy. The mobile flag could go on a chase here, but I remember it doesn't. I distinctly remember it didn't go on a chase, despite it being in a good position to force off the Conyard. But opted for the safer play, just sitting back, losing flag truck to pathing. because fuck the pathing in OpenRA sometimes. Pathing is a bit special, but that's a feature that's just returned from the original. Now we're seeing tier 3 out for Eskimo. The shock troopers have arrived. There is a nice dispatch, a nice backline power drop that didn't get a value so far. And we're seeing another strafe. What did he go for? Oh god, the mobile flag. No sir. So he's got one last V2, one last Yak left. And probably one more push in him before he has to call GG. I like what he's doing here. What Kazu is doing here is sending the rifles in first. That's a Russian way of clearing out a Tesla coil field. Because Tesla coils are shit versus mass infantry. They are pretty damn good and scary versus tanks. But versus mass infantry, they just don't scale. Due to their nature of their bursts. They just overburst infantry so hard. We're seeing a counter push with lots of shockies, unsupported. Man, because I bet you would like to have a V2 now, Kazu. That's something that, a big deal. He lost his radar dome early on and didn't rebuild it. Yeah, and the stance changes. Look at how they're tearing through the base here. This is just... this is brutal to watch. Zap time. Even though they got nerfed versus heavy armor, you see... that's still with the old release, mind you. This is... Those are the vanilla shockies, the unnerfed ones. So they're still pretty good versus armor. Yep, tier 1.5 going down as well. Another O-Truck letting his life on the battlefield here. And thus Kazu has been cleared out of his main base almost entirely. The Yaks are out of ammo and can only watch War Factory going down. This is just brutal. How many O-Trucks does he have left? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3. No bueno, I would say. And also, look at how dearly they're selling their hide. How strong the Shockies can still fight despite being outnumbered there. Just sitting there, taking pot shots and gonna kill a heavy tank as well. Yep, and then it's zap time. Every single burst costs Kazu more and more money. So he's basically GG'd at this point. Doesn't have much left here. Couple Yaks and a bit of infantry. Couple random dispatches, and even an all-in wouldn't help him anymore because there are just too many flame towers. So at this point he's outscaled, and I would honestly in this position call it. Because I know my opponent has got like 5 bases and I've got 2. But gets an O-Truck regardless. That was nice. And the second O-Truck sure to follow, so he's doing at least a bit of work on the eco. Making do with what little he has there. That's something I really like. Those crazy micro shenanigans where one single unit just provides you with so much value. Beautiful stuff. And those two leftover rocket soldier and the tag team, the rocket soldier and the rifleman, are going to kill off the ore refinery. That's pretty solid. Here's a tech center and the Iron Curtain up for Eskimo. So no chance of a comeback, I would say, in my eyes at least. Yeah, that's good though. Baiting the... Is that not in range? Wow, okay. Mobile flags do still outrange flame towers. I didn't know that. That was the case like a lot of releases ago, many moons ago, when flag trucks were brokenly overpowered. Blatantly overpowered, when they could just... they had, I think, 8 cells range or some shit like that. Nice pass here, nice strafe, and now he can go in and snipe the V2 rockets. Nope, there's the flank. There's the flank. Gonna find him. He's gonna find him. Yep. He needs to kill the V2s as soon as possible before they get out another shot. The turn micro is not good enough. There goes the V2 burst and zap go the Tesla troopers. So no airfield to land on for the Yaks, so no more micro shenanigans, unfortunately. So Kazu calling the GG here. Absolutely well-deserved game for Eskimo, well played by both. And yeah, what a great game. So we're seeing the value of stationary defenses in choke points and key positions, and just the values of eco snipes. Where let's look at the combat tab. Look at this. Eskimo has only killed like 8k more, and that's more towards the end. So he didn't really trade effectively. What he did though is deny the enemy eco over and over again. He denied Kazu from establishing a third base up here, and thus denied the ore mine, denied an expansion here, and subsequently just got ahead from his opponent having two little bases and no tech to make up for it. Because that's always a gamble. You can go for quick tech, like I like to do that a lot, and in favor of early tech, forfeiting the early econ boost, and gambling on making it work with little to no units. But yeah, it's a matter of preference, and Kazu definitely was forced into it here because he got pushed out early on. Anyway, let's see, check out the Dark Tournament. There are recordings on So Scared's and Corrode's respective YouTube pages. Also, I'm going to stream today, and then again in 2 weeks on Tuesday, as per usual. And let's hope that those issues are being fixed. Like, thing is, I wonder, maybe someone can help me here. I'm always using the same settings. I am recording with fraps, and I'm using the same settings for fraps. And then I am like recoding the video into a smaller format with VDub. I'm using the same settings there as well, and I get the same results as well. I get the videos in 1920 by 1080p, which is what I want, right? And then I put them into Sony Vegas and I make a video out of it, and then it's completely random. Like, as soon as I fire up Sony Vegas, those videos are going haywire. Sometimes they have the correct resolution, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have letterboxing, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the webcam is lagging, sometimes it isn't. It's the RNG mess. It's an RNG wheel, the wheel of technical difficulties. And yeah, I'm just wondering if anyone has any experience with video editing and knows what the problem might be there. I'm using the same settings every single time. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you guys next time. 5 Aces out.
Battle control terminated.